What if the reality you knew was not the only one? Imagine for a moment you're Robert, living a life filled with contentment and fulfillment. Joy and satisfaction are the threads that weave the tapestry of your existence. Then, as the sun sets and you surrender to the arms of sleep, your reality shifts. You are rudely awakened into a life that is not your own. You find yourself in a modest apartment, your days filled with the monotony of a support call center job. It's a stark contrast to the life of comfort you once knew. This new existence is a far cry from the dream you had been living. Then, as the day turns into a nightmare with the loss of your job and the destruction of your apartment, you fall asleep once more only to wake up back in your old life. As if the horrors of the previous day had never occurred. And just like that, Robert's life was turned upside down. Imagine waking up to a different life every time you sleep. This was the enigma that Robert found himself ensnared within. Each night, he would close his eyes in one world, only to open them in another. A simple support call center employee one day, and a content man leading a fulfilled life the next. The oscillation was as relentless as it was unpredictable, and it left Robert in a constant state of disorientation. The differences between the two realities were stark. In one he was alone, grappling with the mundanity of life, while in the other, he was surrounded by the warmth of familiarity and happiness. But it wasn't just the circumstances that varied. The physical toll was equally severe. An injury sustained in one reality would mysteriously appear in the other. A bruise acquired during his day at the call center would manifest on his skin in his more prosperous life. This blurring of boundaries added a tangible element to his surreal experiences, further muddying the waters of his perception. As this oscillation continued, the line between the two realities began to blur. Which was the dream, and which was reality? The question gnawed at Robert's mind, a relentless tormentor that refused to be silenced. His injuries were real, the emotions he felt were intense, and yet the constant flipping of his existence between the two states was undeniably surreal. As the weeks turned into months, the oscillation became a part of his existence. He found himself shifting between the two worlds with an alarming regularity, each transition as jarring as the last. He was a man adrift, caught between two currents, each pulling him towards a different reality. The struggle to discern which reality was real became the central battle of Robert's life. Each day was a question, each night an answer that only led to more questions. The boundaries between the tangible and the surreal became increasingly blurred, leaving Robert grappling with the disorienting duality of his existence. This was Robert's reality, a disorienting dance between two worlds. Years slipped away, the line between dream and reality blurring. Imagine living in a world where the boundaries of existence are as elusive as smoke, where the passage of time is marked not by the predictable rhythm of the sun and moon, but by the tenuous grasp on sanity. This was Robert's world, a realm of shifting realities and disconcerting dualities. As time flowed like sand through his fingers, Robert was carried along the currents of his surreal existence. Days bled into nights, and nights into days, each a mere reflection of the other. The ticking of the clock, once a reliable companion, now echoed ominously in the chambers of his mind, a chilling reminder of the relentless march of time. And time, it seemed, was a cruel master. As the years spun out, Robert's perception of reality twisted and warped, like a mirror distorted by heat. His every waking moment became a question, a puzzle to solve. Which world was real? Which was a dream? He found himself caught in the relentless grip of a psychological maelstrom, each day a battle to maintain his sanity. In the quiet moments, when the world around him stilled, Robert would close his eyes and reach out, desperately trying to touch the elusive thread of reality. But it was like trying to grasp the wind, a futile endeavor that only served to underscore his disorientation. The psychological toll was immense. Fear became his constant companion, an insidious shadow that lurked in the recesses of his mind. It whispered in his ear, a haunting refrain of dread and uncertainty. It was a fear not of the unknown, but of the known, a fear of the familiar made strange by the enigmatic divide he was traversing. As the years rolled on, the line between dream and reality became increasingly entwined. The once clear demarcation had been replaced by a nebulous gray area, a twilight zone where the tangible and the surreal danced in a macabre ballet of confusion. The dream and the reality had become indistinguishable. Robert was no longer a man caught between two worlds. He was a man lost in a world where reality was as elusive as a dream, and dreams were as tangible as reality. Just when Robert thought he had grasped his reality, a third one emerged. A sense of relief washed over him like a wave caressing the shore after a storm. He found himself in a new reality, one that was free of the oscillating existence that had kept him on the edge of sanity. The dual existence that had been his life, his world, was now a thing of the past. In this newfound reality, Robert was just an average man, living an average life. His days were filled with simple pleasures and mundane tasks. No longer was he a pawn in a cruel game of fate, bouncing between a blissful dream and a horrifying nightmare. His life was his own again, grounded in a reality that was consistent, predictable, and reassuringly ordinary. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Robert embraced his new life with a fervor that was born from his past experiences. He reveled in the normalcy, the routine, the predictability, the memories of the support call center, the devastating fire, and the disorienting shift between realities began to recede, fading into the back of his mind like a dream upon waking. The horrors of his previous realities became distant, like a story he had once read or a movie he had once watched. They were no longer a part of his existence, no longer a part of his reality. They were just fragments of a past he had left far behind. But as the memories faded, so did the fear. The fear of falling asleep and waking up in a different reality. The fear of not knowing which world was real and which was a dream. The fear of losing his grip on reality. Robert's life was finally his own, free from the haunting specter of his dual existence. As he moved through his days, relishing in the simplicity and consistency of his new reality, Robert began to let go. He let go of the fear, the uncertainty, and the confusion. He let go of the past, embracing the present with an open heart and a clear mind. Robert was finally free, or so he thought. But the reality was far more chilling than any dream. These words echo in the sterile silence of the hospital room, as Robert wakes up to a nurse, her face a mask of professional concern. She tells him something that makes his blood run cold, colder than any nightmare he'd ever had. "Robert," she says, "you've been in a coma for 15 years. 15 years. That's a decade and a half of his life, stolen away in the abyss of unconsciousness." The words hang in the air like a death sentence, shattering his world into a million pieces. Robert's mind reels, struggling to process the enormity of his situation. 15 years. The number is a cruel mockery of the life he thought he'd been living, a life that now seems as fragile as a spider's web, ready to break at the merest touch. Imagine the psychological impact of such a revelation. Picture the walls of your reality crumbling down around you, leaving you standing in the ruins of your own perception. For Robert, these weren't just imaginings. They were his reality. His life as he knew it was an elaborate fabrication, a dream within a dream within a dream. Every moment of happiness, every instance of despair, every breath he thought he'd taken was nothing more than a phantom, a ghost of a life he never lived. The years of traversing through the enigmatic divide, of oscillating between two realities, of grappling with the disorienting duality of his existence, all of it was a dream. A dream that left him adrift in a sea of uncertainty, his consciousness tethered to a reality that continually eluded his grasp. But the most chilling part? It's not over. The nurse's revelation is just the beginning of Robert's journey. The journey through multiple realities, through the intricate tapestry of alternate lives, through the fragile nature of perception, it's far from over. Robert's journey through multiple realities was not over. It had just begun. As the harsh light of the hospital room floods his vision, Robert is left to question everything he thought he knew about reality. His life, as he knew it, was about to change forever. What is reality but a construct of our minds? As we delve into the enigma of Robert's journey, we are confronted with the unsettling ambiguity of our perception. The tangible world we believe to be our reality is merely a reflection of our senses, as mutable and unreliable as a dream. Robert's oscillations between realities, each as vivid and palpable as the other, highlight the fragility of our perception. Our minds are capable of weaving intricate tapestries of existence, blurring the lines between the dreamt and the lived, the surreal and the real. The wounds of one reality bleed into another, the echoes of one life resonate in the other. This interplay of realities lays bare the unnerving truth that our perception can be manipulated, distorted, and even shattered. It leaves us questioning the very fabric of our existence, the reliability of our senses, and the solidity of the world around us. In the end, we are all just prisoners of our own perceptions.